Welcome, deep divers. Today, we're embarking on quite an intriguing journey into one of the most enduring mysteries of our time. Unidentified flying objects, or, well, as they're now officially known, unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs.
That's right.
For decades, these elusive encounters have really captured our imagination, fueling stories of alien visitors, secret government programs. But what truly lies beneath, the headlines and the folklore?
It's really fascinating how just one incident can ignite such widespread speculation, isn't it? Our deep dive today is custom-tailored to untangle the threads of fact, official accounts, and popular beliefs surrounding two really iconic locations, Roswell, New Mexico, and of course the infamous Area 51.
Okay.
You've sent us quite a stack of sources. We've got declassified government reports, news analyses, historical accounts, and our mission really is to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge from all that.
Exactly. Our sources take us on this fascinating journey. We'll start with the nuts and bolts of the Roswell incident, the concerned facts. Then we'll trace how the government's approach to these phenomena has sort of shifted over time.
Right.
And of course, no deep dive into UAPs is complete without uncovering Area 51's documented secrets. And then we'll tackle some of the biggest, most persistent claims about aliens. Ready to see what's fact and what's, well, folklore?
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Summer of 1947, out in the vast, quiet New Mexico desert, something crashed. A rancher, Mack Brazel, he discovered this unusual metallic debris scattered across his property. Now, our sources describe it as being like tinfoil, but much tougher.
Wow. Tougher tinfoil.
Yeah, and weirdly, when you bent it or crumpled it, it would apparently straighten right back out.
Strange.
Super strange discovery, especially for his sheep, who, the sources say, curiously refused to cross the debris field.
Even the sheep knew something was off.
Right. So Mack Brazel reports his discovery to the authorities, and that's when Major Jesse Marcel, an intelligence officer from the 509th Bomber Squadron at Roswell Army Airfield, gets dispatched to investigate.
Okay, and the 509th, that's significant.
Hugely significant. It was the world's only nuclear-equipped bomber squadron at the time. That tells you straight away the extreme level of security and sensitivity around anything happening near that base.
Absolutely. High stakes.
And Major Marcel himself, he stated the material was, quote, not anything from this earth, and material that he never saw before or ever saw again.
Strong words from an intelligence officer.
Very. And then July 8th, 1947, the Army Air Forces issues a press release, gets picked up by national news, announcing that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
A flying disc, just like that, out in the open? That must have sent absolute shockwaves, right?
Oh, completely. A true sensation.
This dynamic, though, between that initial transparency, hey, we found a flying disc, and then the rapid reversal, that's really a hallmark of the Roswell story, isn't it? It's driven decades of speculation.
Totally.
And that immediate shift, it just begs the question, what was so significant that it required such an immediate, coordinated change in the narrative?
That really is the core mystery, isn't it? Because that initial excitement, like you said, lasted less than a day.
Less than 24 hours.
Just hours after the announcement, the Army retracts it. General Roger Ramey at Fort Worth Army Airfield orders Major Marcel to personally deliver the wreckage to him in Texas.
Okay.
Then, at a press conference, Ramey, with Marcel and Colonel Thomas Dubose right there, insists the debris was merely from a weather balloon. He even presents, rubber strips, tinfoil, some paper, and balsa wood.
The classic weather balloon explanation.
Exactly. And Mack Brazel, the rancher who found it, he also publicly changes his story, expressing regret for even coming forward and confirming, yep, just a weather balloon.
That's convenient.
Right. But our sources indicate that Brazel was apparently taken into custody by the military. He stayed at the base for the next 5 full days and later complained he felt like he was in jail.
5 days for finding a weather balloon.
Doesn't quite add up, does it?
Yeah.
His family noted that after this whole period, he never spoke about the incident again. They found it really unnatural for him being a World War II vet, suggesting he was basically told to keep quiet.
Sounds like it.
And Major Jesse Marcel Sr., he was apparently sworn to secrecy, and his family perceived the entire situation as just a clear government cover-up. It's a story that just makes you wonder about the full picture.
Yeah, that rapid reversal, the weather balloon story, the silencing of the key witnesses. It doesn't just suggest a simple mistake, does it? It points towards a deliberate, probably high-level effort to control the narrative. And that in itself is a really crucial takeaway. Whether it's actual aliens or maybe some secret human tech they didn't want anyone knowing about, the government's #1 concern was secrecy. Absolute secrecy.
Absolutely. And, decades later, the questions still persist. There are actually new efforts being made to find answers. An investigation is currently analyzing this cryptic journal that belonged to Jesse Marcel Sr.
Oh, interesting. What are they finding?
Well, handwriting experts have confirmed the writing seems freely and naturally executed, and it contains these unique features, like the capital letter M is written almost like 3 sevens attached. They're trying to verify its authenticity and date it.
Forensic analysis on old documents, huh?
Yeah, and intriguingly, aerial footage of the crash site also shows what they call delineations in the soil, basically marks or lines that seem consistent with witness descriptions of an object falling, hitting the ground, skipping, and then scattering debris.
So physical evidence potentially matching the accounts.
Potentially. And even more fascinating, they're analyzing soil and rock samples from the site to see if they contain, quote, metals not from this area and possibly not from this world. And also trying to match their magnetism to the 1947 timeframe of the crash.
Wow, serious science being applied here.
It is. Though, on a slightly lighter note, Mack Brazel's grandson, Joe Brazel, he did dispel one widely circulated rumor that debris was hidden under a cement slab at his house.
Right.
He showed reporters, nope, no cement slab there.
Okay, so debunking some of the myths, too.
Exactly.
What's really fascinating here is this ongoing application of, scientific and forensic methods to a historical event. They're trying to move beyond just the stories, the anecdotal accounts, and get into verifiable evidence. The real question then becomes, though, can these modern techniques actually resolve a mystery that's steeped in so many layers of official denial and, let's face it, public myth-making? It's a pretty significant undertaking.
It really is. So the Roswell incident, it clearly shows this history of official secrecy and evolving narratives. That leads us perfectly into our next point. How has the government actually shifted its approach to UAPs over the years beyond just the Roswell cover-up?
Right, it hasn't stayed static.
No. And if you follow this topic, you've probably noticed the term UFO becoming less common, at least in official circles. The U.S. government doesn't really use unidentified flying object anymore. They prefer unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP.
And there's a reason for that rebranding.
Yeah, this change was made, according to our sources, because, quote, UFOs are a source of ridicule due to their popular association with alien spacecraft.
So it's more than just semantics. It's a deliberate effort to distance the official conversation from, popular culture's often sensationalized narratives, the little green men stuff. It allows for a more serious, science-based approach.
Makes sense.
Though some speculate it might have also served a secondary purpose. By sort of encouraging the aliens' association with UFOs, maybe the government could more easily dismiss genuine inquiries about their own secret aircraft tests, like the ones happening at Area 51. Keep people looking over there.
Interesting angle, deflection.
Yeah.
So what is the government actually doing about UAPs now? Is it still just dismissing everything?
Well, no, things have changed. Our sources indicate the Department of Defense has a UAP task force, the UAPTF. And Deputy Secretary of Defense Kathleen Hicks issued a directive specifically to formalize its mission, setting up procedures to synchronize how UAP data is collected, reported, and analyzed.
So a more structured approach.
Much more. In fact, a recent UAP report actually received input from 17 other U.S. government agencies. We're talking the FBI, CIA, NASA, DOD, FAA.
Wow, 17 agencies.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
It really highlights how complex the issue is, right? It touches on intelligence, defense, aviation, safety, scientific domains. As former fighter pilot Ryan Graves put it, I think they need to also acknowledge there are vehicles in our airspace, and we don't know what they are or where they come from. It's an admission of the unknown.
That's a big step.
It is. And former Secretary of the Navy Ray Mabus added, admitting you don't know is a pretty good place to start.
That feels like a healthy approach, actually. And NASA, known for its scientific rigor, they've also officially entered the conversation.
Right, NASA got involved too.
They announced an independent study of UAPs back on June 9, 2022, focusing specifically on how the agency can address the question scientifically.
Using their expertise.
Exactly. The study acknowledges that, yes, many credible witnesses, often military aviators, have reported seeing objects they just didn't recognize over U.S. airspace. And while most of these events have been explained eventually, a small handful cannot be immediately identified as known human-made or natural phenomena.
That small handful is where the real mystery lies.
Precisely. However, NASA also points out a big challenge. The analysis is often hampered by things like poor sensor calibration, The lack of multiple measurements, the lack of sensor metadata, and the lack of baseline data. Basically, garbage in, garbage out sometimes.
Yeah, the data quality is a huge issue. If you don't have good data, you can't draw solid conclusions.
So to tackle this, they're proposing leveraging NASA's expertise in things like multispectral or hyperspectral data, essentially.
Yeah.
Looking at light across many different wavelengths to find anomalies invisible to the human eye.
More sophisticated sensors.
Right, and also utilizing artificial intelligence and machine learning to sift through potentially vast amounts of data to identify these rare occurrences.
Using AI to spot the weird stuff. It makes sense. It's really vital, though, to distinguish between what is truly anomalous, genuinely strange, and what is simply unknown because we lack sufficient data.
Right. Big difference.
As the NASA report itself states, science is a process that reveals reality rather than sculpts it, no matter how unsatisfying or confusing that reality might be.
I like that phrasing.
Yeah, the scientific method involves rigorously evaluating ideas, being willing to be wrong, and just following the data wherever it leads, even if it's not the exciting answer you hoped for. Which raises the question, how can we foster more consistent, high-quality data collection in this field? That seems key.
Absolutely. Okay, so when you think about UFOs, government cover-ups, secret projects, for many people, Area 51 immediately springs to mind.
The ultimate symbol of government secrecy, right?
Totally. But what was its actual purpose, according to the declassified documents we have?
Well, Area 51 was the designated testing site for the CIA's most secretive and advanced reconnaissance aircraft programs. Simple as that, really, though profoundly important.
Okay.
Its remote location out there in the Nevada desert was chosen specifically to keep these groundbreaking projects, like the U-2 spy plane and the RX-CART program, completely out of the public eye and away from Soviet satellites, too.
Right, so let's start with the U-2, famously known as the Dragon Lady.
An iconic aircraft.
Developed by the legendary Kelly Johnson at Lockheed's Skunk Works, the U-2 was designed to fly way up high, above 60,000 feet. That was well beyond the reach of Soviet interceptors back then, like the MiG-17, which could barely scrape 45,000 feet.
So effectively untouchable at the time?
Pretty much. And to save weight and achieve these ultra-high altitudes, the U-2 incorporated really innovative designs, adapting elements from, believe it or not, sailplane technology. Like the tail assembly was attached with only 3 tension bolts.
Wow, borrowing from gliders for a spy plane.
It's incredible to think about the level of tech they were developing back then. The pilots had to wear these partially pressurized spacesuits, basically, developed by David Clark and Firewall Company. They could sustain life at those extreme altitudes.
Forerunners to actual spacesuits.
Exactly. Forerunners to equipment used later in the space program. And the U-2 was equipped with these incredibly powerful aerial lenses designed by astronomer James Baker, capable of unprecedented detail from miles up.
Getting those crucial pictures.
Oh, yeah. This U-2 photography provided, quote, million-dollar photography of Soviet bomber bases. It notably disproved some exaggerated claims the Soviets were making about how many heavy bombers they had, the Myasishchev 4 Bison bombers.
So real intelligence value.
Huge value. It actually saved the U.S. from making unnecessary purchases of our own B-52 bombers based on bad intel.
That level of innovation and secrecy around purely human-made aircraft, it directly relates back to why some UAP sightings might simply have been misidentified secret planes, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It just illustrates the incredible lengths governments will go to conceal military advancements, things that would look utterly alien to an uninformed observer.
And the secrecy around the U-2 program was intense. Our sources say it used unvouchered funds, basically off-the-books money that didn't require detailed public accounting. This allowed for maximum secrecy and avoided competitive bidding.
Black budget stuff.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, flying the U-2 was risky. It experienced engine flameouts at high altitudes, leading them to have prearranged emergency landing instructions for pilots to use at any U.S. airbase if needed.
High risk, high reward.
Definitely. In 1956 alone, 3 U-2s crashed, one fatally. But these incidents were kept completely out of the public eye. And the greatest single loss of life connected to the U-2 program actually happened in November 1955 when a military air transport service C-54 plane, just flying personnel to Area 51, crashed, killing all 14 people aboard.
Just getting there was dangerous.
Yeah. The U-2 program also actively developed radar camouflage and absorption devices under something called Project Rainbow. They were aiming for a radar cross-section of less than 10 square meters, basically trying to make it much harder for enemy radar to detect, an early form of stealth.
Trying to be invisible.
Right. And its engines were also upgraded. allowing faster climbs through the tropopause, that layer of atmosphere where temperature stabilized partly to reduce those telltale condensation trails, the contrails.
All about staying hidden. This deep commitment to stealth and high-altitude flight, it clearly explains many UFO sightings from that era, you know? People would see something incredibly fast, incredibly high, maybe reflecting sunlight strangely, and completely unknown, precisely because it was designed to be that way.
Makes perfect sense. Now, if the U-2 was impressive, the Ox-Cart program, which was the precursor to the even more famous SR-71 Blackbird, was truly next level. It pushed the boundaries of stealth and speed even further.
Oxic, yeah. The A-12. Even more secret.
Exactly. The Ox-Cart, or A-12, was designed for Mach 3.2 plus reconnaissance, over 3 times the speed of sound. And it aimed for an even smaller radar cross-section, less than 5 square meters.
Faster and stealthier.
Yep. It used advanced materials like titanium and really innovative structural designs, including these inward-angled vertical stabilizers on the tail made of non-metallic composite materials, all for stealth.
Cutting-edge stuff for the time.
Absolutely cutting edge. Its camera windows, for instance, get this, they were made of quartz glass fused to the metal frame using high-frequency sound waves.
Ultrasonic welding. Wow.
Yeah. Capable of withstanding these extreme temperature differences, maybe 550 degrees Fahrenheit on the exterior from air friction, but only 150 degrees inside.
Incredible engineering challenges.
Totally. And its J-58 engines were so advanced, they required unprecedented testing in the exhaust stream of other jet engines, just to simulate the extreme conditions they'd operate under at Mach 3.
Testing engines inside other engines' exhaust. That's wild.
Isn't it? And naturally, initial A-12 flights were deliberately kept out of public view. Sometimes they'd even use Air Force versions of the aircraft, slightly different, as a diversion.
Misdirection again.
And just like the U-2, the A-12 experience crashes during testing. 2 A-12s were lost, one in July 64 and another in December 65, but thankfully their pilots ejected safely. And again, these incidents were kept completely from the public.
The SR-71 Blackbird, which came directly from the Ox-Cart A-12, it remains this iconic symbol of advanced reconnaissance even today.
It really does.
And the development histories of both the U-2 and the Ox-Cart, they just highlight that these huge technological advancements, things that might appear genuinely otherworldly to an untrained eye, were actually the result of immense human ingenuity, tons of classified research, and, let's be honest, substantial government investment.
Yeah.
It just underscores the profound capability of human engineering when it's really pushed to its limits under secrecy.
Okay, so with those documented facts about secret aircraft laid out, it's time we delve into the realm of, well, popular speculation and claims that have captivated the public for decades, starting back at Roswell.
Right, beyond the debris.
Exactly. Beyond the crash debris, the Roswell incident ignited these persistent stories of alleged alien bodies found at the site. Accounts mentioned little people, with some described as dead and some alive.
The EBEs, extraterrestrial biological entities?
That's the term often used, yeah.
Yeah.
One specific report we found mentioned in the sources, apparently sent to J. Edgar Hoover at the FBI, described objects that were, quote, circular in shape with raised centers approximately 50 feet in diameter.
Okay.
And each was occupied by 3 bodies of human shape, but only 3 feet tall, dressed in metallic cloth of a very fine texture.
Very specific details in that alleged report.
Very specific. And then there's an even more compelling or maybe extreme claim from the sources stating that one of the aliens recovered from Roswell stayed in Los Alamos until 1952.
Stayed there, as in was kept there.
Apparently, yes. And was reportedly alive and provided significant information. A live alien captive for years.
Wow. Okay, these claims represent the most extraordinary aspect of the whole Roswell narrative, don't they?
Absolutely. The most sensational part.
And while they are very widely circulated in public discourse, in books, online, everywhere, it is really important to note that these specific details about bodies, and especially a surviving alien, are presented in our sources as unconfirmed accounts, popular beliefs, speculation. They are not officially verified facts.
Crucial distinction. Not verified.
Right. They're part of the enduring mythos, the folklore surrounding Roswell, but not established fact based on current evidence.
Okay, and then there's that other really long-standing theory that the U.S. government didn't just recover alien craft, but actually reverse-engineered its technology.
The alien tech conspiracy.
Yeah, leading to these rapid leaps in our own scientific capabilities. You probably heard the whispers, right? That breakthroughs in areas like integrated circuits, fiber optics, lasers, even night vision were all somehow gleaned from alien sources recovered at Roswell or elsewhere.
It's a very popular idea, and it brings us to a really crucial point. What does the documented history of these technologies actually tell us? Does it support that idea?
Good question. What do the sources say?
Well, when we look at technologies like integrated circuits or lasers or fiber optics, our sources provide really clear, verifiable timelines of human ingenuity.
Okay.
It wasn't one single leap. It was often decades of work, starting from initial theoretical concepts, moving to practical applications with hundreds, maybe thousands of scientists and engineers contributing along the way.
Right, the gradual progress of science.
Exactly. Take integrated circuits, ICs. Their development in the mid-20th century was a direct response to what engineers called the tyranny of numbers.
Tyranny of numbers.
Yeah, basically electronic devices were getting so complex using thousands of individual vacuum tubes that they were becoming incredibly unreliable. Too many parts to fail.
Ah, okay, so necessity drove invention.
Precisely, human necessity. Key breakthroughs like Jean Horney's planar technology, Chi-Tang Sa's work on phosphorus diffusion in 1959, these were crucial human steps. Then you get the first 4-bit microprocessor, the Intel 4004, emerging in 1971. The first 8-bit one, the Intel 8008, followed in 72, with clear design roots coming from a company called Computer Terminals Corporation. It's all documented human progress.
Okay, so a clear human path for ICs and microprocessors. What about lasers?
Similar story. The theoretical foundations for the laser were laid by Nobel laureates Charles Townes, Nikolai Basov, and Alexander Prokhorov. Gordon Gould also played a really significant role. These were physicists working on light amplification. The first working CO2 laser was developed in 1964, and by 1967, CO2 lasers were already being used commercially for things like cutting steel. Since then, lasers have found countless applications: medicine, communication, manufacturing, even national security, like the National Ignition Facility for Nuclear Weapons Research. Again, a documented human path.
Okay. Fiber optics, that seems pretty futuristic.
It does, but again, human invention. The first working fiber optic data transmission system was actually demonstrated by a German physicist, Manfred Berner, way back in 1965.
65.
Yeah. Then Charles K. Kao and George A. Hockham proposed crucial advancements in 1965 to reduce signal loss, which earned Kao the Nobel Prize in 2009. Corning Glassworks achieved that breakthrough, getting the signal loss low enough for practical use in 1970. NASA even used fiber optics in its TV cameras sent to the moon in 1968.
On the moon cameras. Okay, that's pretty definitive. And night vision.
Even earlier roots. German forces developed infrared night vision devices back in the 1940s during World War II.
Really? That early?
Yep. Then the technology based on image intensification tubes that amplify existing ambient light, saw successive generations of development throughout the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. Each generation got better, smaller, clearer through iterative human engineering.
So while the sources definitely show these incredible advancements in all these technologies, they also provide these really clear, documented histories of their human invention and development, often driven by military needs, scientific curiosity, commercial goals.
Exactly. It really highlights the sheer power of human ingenuity when faced with challenges or new possibilities.
Yeah.
So when we consider these claims that modern technology was somehow reverse engineered from non-human sources, we really have to weigh them against this detailed, verifiable history of human scientific and engineering breakthroughs that's readily available in, patents, papers, historical records.
It's a pretty stark contrast, isn't it? The documented versus the speculative.
It is a very compelling contrast to consider.
Wow. What a deep dive this has been. We've peeled back some layers on Roswell, tried to understand the real strategic importance of Area 51, and explore this evolving narrative around UAPs.
Yeah, we've seen how the government has kind of moved from those initial, almost panicked denials and retractions, like in Roswell, to now having a more open, or at least publicly open, scientific inquiry into UAPs. And we've also really highlighted how the documented history of major technological innovation, things like lasers, integrated circuits, fiber optics, it showcases truly remarkable human ingenuity, even while popular culture continues to entertain these theories of, secret alien origins.
It truly is a testament to the power of human curiosity and ingenuity, isn't it? But also, you have to admit, to the enduring allure of the unknown, that pull towards the mysterious.
Oh, absolutely. That reminder you mentioned earlier, admitting you don't know, is a pretty good place to start. That feels really relevant here. And critical thinking is just so essential in today's world, with this overload of information, trying to sort fact from speculation, from outright fiction sometimes.
So true. So what does this all mean for you the listener, as you try to make sense of it all, maybe consider this provocative thought. If governments have clearly gone to such extraordinary lengths, spending billions, risking lives, maintaining decades of secrecy, just to keep human-made advanced technology secret,
Good point.
how might that fact shape our understanding, or maybe our skepticism, when we encounter phenomena that genuinely seem to defy explanation? Does it make truly unexplained things more intriguing, or does it make us suspect yet another hidden human project? What stands out to you from today's deep dive?
That's a great question to ponder. We hope this deep dive has given you some new insights, maybe clarified some things, and perhaps sparked some new questions for you to explore.
Yeah.
Because there's always more to learn, isn't there? And looking at multiple perspectives, weighing the evidence, that always enriches understanding.
Couldn't agree more. Until next time, keep digging into those sources, keep asking questions, and stay curious.